When I first moved into the quiet suburban neighborhood, I thought I had found the perfect place to settle down. The tree-lined streets, the neat lawns, and the picturesque homes all looked like something out of a postcard. My golden retriever, Max, seemed to love it even more than I did. He bounded happily in the backyard, wagged his tail at the kids riding bikes, and even won the affection of the mailman, who never failed to toss him a treat. For a while, everything felt like it was falling into place. But in neighborhoods like these, there's always someone who feels entitled to control everyone else. In my case, that someone was a woman who lived 3 houses down. She was known as the neighborhood busybody, though most people just called her Karen behind her back. The first time I met her was not through a neighborly introduction, but through a neatly typed letter shoved into my mailbox. The letter stated, in no uncertain terms, that my dog was a nuisance to the community, and that his presence was a violation of neighborhood standards. The letter was signed by her personally, not the HOA, but she had taken the liberty of CCing the board on it. Apparently, Max's occasional barking during the day, always short, playful, and nothing excessive, was enough for her to declare war. At first I brushed it off as a minor annoyance. After all, every neighborhood has that one person who can't stand joy or noise of any kind. But then, the official letters started. A week later, I received a notice from the HOA demanding that I address the noise complaint from my pet. They warned that continued issues could result in fines, and if left unresolved, further escalation might be necessary. It was absurd. Max wasn't aggressive, wasn't loud, and certainly wasn't dangerous. The children in the neighborhood loved him. He would sit patiently by the fence, letting them pet him on their way home from school. But Karen wasn't interested in facts. She had a bone to pick, and unfortunately, that bone was with my dog. I tried to reason with the board in writing. I explained that Max was a certified emotional support animal, that he had never caused any damage, and that his barking was well within normal limits. I even attached a signed note from my veterinarian confirming Max's calm temperament. But the letters didn't stop. Instead, the HOA doubled down, sending me a warning that if I did not comply with community harmony standards, they would escalate to legal measures. It was at that moment I realized this was no ordinary complaint. Karen had influence within the HOA. She had been on the board in the past, and even though she no longer officially served, she seemed to have a tight grip on several members. She was pulling the strings behind the scenes, making sure her personal vendetta was carried out under the guise of community rules. Frustration turned into determination. If they wanted to play by the rules, then I would beat them at their own game. I began carefully reviewing the HOA's bylaws, poring over every clause and subclause. What I found shocked me. Hidden within the dense, jargon-filled pages were loopholes, contradictions, and even protections that Karen and the board seemed to be conveniently ignoring. Max was not just a pet. He was legally registered as an emotional support animal. The HOA's rules had specific carve-outs for support animals that exempted them from many of the restrictions applied to ordinary pets. Not only was I in compliance, but their threats could actually expose them to legal liability if they continued. At this point, I knew the battle had only just begun. Karen wanted my dog gone. The HOA was backing her up. But I had something they didn't expect: the rules, the law, and the determination to fight back. And so, what started as a few letters of complaint quickly spiraled into a full-scale war between me, Karen, and the HOA. A war they thought they could win, until I showed them just how wrong they were. The stage was set. Karen had made her move, and now it was my turn to strike back. Chapter 2 would mark the beginning of my plan to turn their own rules against them.